And all of the gentlemen in the room, you have highly stressful jobs, high profile jobs, you have a lot of eyes on you, which also with social media, there's a lot of criticisms that may happen. How do you approach self-care and making sure you stay in a positive mental space? And I open that up to any of the gentlemen who would like to take the mic.
I think the best thing to do is to have a real self-care days. You know, like maybe take a day to yourself to kind of to pull away from all of everything that comes with I guess this business. You know, you're constantly up against so many different forces that literally are out of your control. So taking a day to yourself to do something simple, go get a massage, you know, take that extra long shower if you want, be in the gym longer than you need to, whatever you need to that for your own mental health to kind of purge yourself of all of the toxicity that comes within, you know, when you're dealing with everything that we have to deal with. You know, just taking that extra time to focus on yourself. I think that's one. I think, you know, a real self-care day. That's one of the biggest things.
I think for me personally, it starts and ends with prayer. You know, no role, no money, no opportunity can change how you feel if it's going good or bad. So you gotta stay at your core of peace. Well, for me, it's praying, meditation, working out, and spending a lot of time in nature. Because sometimes we blow things out of proportion. It's not really a big of a deal. But some people don't even have the opportunity we have, or don't have the platform. But what comes with everything we have is a lot of stress, a lot of challenges. It could be outfit change. It could be you just got your script for a movie. You got to be in New York tomorrow morning on a red eye, and you're like, you got to show up. You got to show up, and so that's a challenge. And you got to really build rapport with yourself and know yourself. You know, at a deeper level, knowing no matter what, you're good. And I just like to dedicate that to my faith and my belief, and just I stay prayed up.
I think the first thing I'd like to say about this is recognize the signs. I remember last year, very intense year for us, and we'll get into some of this.
Yes.
I got sick, you know, acquired allergies I never had before. There was one week I had to take out of work. I'm not sure all my employees know this. I got shingles.
Wow.
I went into like the doctor. He was like, "You got shingles." I have what? Like, what is shingles? And he was like, "All right, have you ever had chicken pox before?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "You're stressed." It was the first time I recognized that my body was telling me something.
And you said it that quickly.
Yeah.
Chickenpox or stress.
That's right.
Okay.
So I recognized the signs and knew I needed help. So you got to think like objectively about this. The reason we don't talk about it is because we're very subjective about what this means. And it was a very objective thing for me to feel. The second thing that I had to realize in that objectivity was, you know, you got to have some self-compassion, if not for this sole reason. It's not all on me. You know, I'm all about the research, right? You know, we had an office back in the Bay Area, and there's some really interesting research right now going on at Stanford about how like trauma goes through the DNA.
Yes.
Hundreds of years of slavery. You know, I think about the complexity of my relationship with my mother, right? You know, how I was raised, right? Not very simply, but I now have an understanding about the trauma she had to go through and the impact of her rearing me, right? So when I think about my sons growing up, I'm thoughtful about that objectively. And being objectively thoughtful about this stuff provides space for self-compassion. So there's two things I've learned, at least throughout this whole journey that I've taken with kind of therapy or whatever. I've learned we are all in this thing together with shared suffering, right? But we always lose sight of like self-compassion. So whether it's these, you know, self-care days, right? Also know that everybody's going through this, right? Or something. And there's a strength in your own personhood that you feel.
Do you think we lose sight of self-compassion because it's maybe misconstrued as like a weakness, or we're like, oh, you just have to fight through this, or you just, like, why do you think we lose touch with ourselves in that way?
I think I can speak for myself. You know, I'm a product of the matriarchy, right? My mom raised me, aunts, right? So this idea of not having men in my life has always stuck with me. So I've always felt this like intrinsic desire to be a superhero. I'm not a superhero.
Right.
Right? And it wasn't until I started to get sick that I started to feel that like fallibility, right? So, you know, first of all, at least for me, I think the big reason why, you know, we are how we are is because we want to be superheroes, right? In our businesses, in our professions, because we want to exceed, right, at a level that would make us forget about some of the trauma we've had to go through. But frankly, the trauma sticks, it's in your DNA, it's not going to be.
I feel like I had to hit a few walls before I realized I really had to take care of myself. Like he said, you really feel like you're a superhero. Or if you don't feel like that, you feel like you have to be. You know, usually being one of the first people in your family to, you know, break that barrier and achieve wealth in a way that's, you know, different than the norm or different than what our personal history, you know, says, is now you have to figure out how to actually operate it, how to navigate it, and how to like let it work for you, and you don't work for it, you know. But like you realize how much trauma and transmutation and just like acknowledgement. Like I got 3 A's. I say acknowledge, accept, assent. So it's like you have to acknowledge the problem or the situation or the circumstance. Then you have to accept it. Through that process of acceptance, you get to assent. You know, and each process takes different amounts of time depending on what it is, you know. But you know, I feel like I'm just now getting to my place of ascension. You know, and it took me a long time to accept that my life prior to the shift is no longer fully real, you know what I'm saying, or tangible. You know, even though I get to always carry, like, you know, my first 21 years of being anonymous, you know, in this world and private and living a regular life.
Right.
These last 3-4 years have been really real too. You know, it's just a transition. It's like as if I'm like reborn, you know what I'm saying? So it's as if I'm like 4. Like I feel like I'm 4, like 2016, like it was like it's an identity shift. So then like for me, like to simplify, like I guess the questions that I had, like, or I guess the insecurities I had, I was like, well, what is it that's not making me feel settled? Like, I got the bread, you know, the show, you know, I've been doing acting classes, I've auditioned a bit, like everything that I thought and I needed to have in place is in place, yet I still don't feel secure. And I realized that, you know, I call it false humility, where it's like, you know, the road tails paved with good intention. It's like, you know, I'm thinking I'm being humble, but that's the problem. Like, you know, so many times we're being humble rather than actually doing what's true. Sometimes being humble is going against the grain, you know, and it's doing what's not socially, you know, accepted, or the ideal, you know, response to something that's brought your way. But so often we fold, you know, and we don't even notice it until it becomes a habit or a pattern. And I had to really catch those patterns because I kept seeing the result of the pattern, but I wasn't aware of the pattern. So I had to say, why do I keep getting in these situations? And how am I not happy, even though I have everything or all the components that's supposed to make me happy? So then I had to redesign what happy meant to me and ask myself why, you know, or better yet, what those voids were that I'm still trying to fill, you know.
Did you get there by yourself, or did you go to a therapist?
Well, I think it started with just hitting walls in real life. You know, I have a therapist now, but that's after hitting walls for 2 years, you
All
know.
right, quick question for the room. How many people have a therapist or gone to see a therapist? Or I love seeing that. I love seeing that, because that's not often something, especially in our community, it's considered like a taboo. Like, I'm not crazy. I don't need to go to the head doctor kind of thing, you know?
Well, I had to process those emotions. It's like,
Yeah.
that wasn't my first, like, oh yeah, the way I get superhero.
Right.
Nobody, A, it costs money.
It does.
And B, nobody's gonna fix me. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever my therapist has to say, I have to be willing to accept it. And then apply it to, like, my real life. Because she can't be there with me while I'm making choices and doing what I do in real life.
Right.
So it's like, it either can become, like, something really constructive, or it could become a crutch. Because it's like church, you know? Oh, I'm just gonna go talk about it Sunday, and we back at it Monday. Sunday, it's all good again. Yeah, it never happened. Nah, you still have to be accountable. You still have to be responsible. You don't get to just wash away your sins on Sunday, and Monday it's like, there's a responsibility, and that's why I say anchors. And that's what I'm creating for myself. What anchors can keep me so rooted that no matter what's happening above the ground, the roots are in place. Even if it's a breezy day, and the tree is swaying, the roots are in play, you're gonna have to like cut them out, you know, depending on how long they've been there. And that's why you gotta concentrate and focus on what you're trying to have so set. I wanna get to a place where I don't have to think about my mental health. I don't have to think about using the restroom or doing other things. Like, you just do it. I just talk, I just walk, I just, you know. So it's like, I just wanna be able to be good for myself without the pressure of having to do it. And that comes with like real, I guess, recalibration. Like we've been conditioned, and until you acknowledge that and accept the parts of you that aren't you, which is a hard thing to do because you feel like an imposter. Like you feel like, damn, like again, we all are so prideful, which makes sense. We have to be. It's kind of like a defense mechanism. But when you realize there's pieces you don't have, now you got to figure out, or better yet, surrender to the fact that you may never figure out why not, or what the answer is, and then you gotta just let it come to you.